Well, there are actually four modalities that we're adopting to address, to respond to the COVID-19 situation. First is the print-based materials. We are producing what we call self-learning modules. These are essentially workbook-style modules that students there are texts where students can are explain the concepts are explained, and then primarily it's a lot of activities which students have to do on their own while they are at home. And then the second is what we call online learning. So this is a bit of a misnomer because most of the applications that we've been releasing, it's will online internet is will greatly facilitate them, but they can actually be deployed even without internet. We have launched in March, 2 days after the quarantine was declared, what we call the DepEd Commons. It contains open educational resources. It contains the self-learning modules as well as the videos that we have been, the video lectures that we have been producing. And then recently in October, we recently launched our learning management system. It's a Moodle-based application. We deployed around 20 clusters for the 17 regions in our country, and we're expecting that it will cater to around 15 million students. Yesterday, my team has already been in contact with the telephone companies to zero rate the learning management system. The DepEd Commons was actually zero rated way back in April, so that students who are accessing these systems using smartphones will not incur any mobile data charges. Then the third modality that we're using is what we call is what we call the DepEd TV. We're using television as a means for delivering our lectures, right? Because given the situation, our teachers in our country, we are totally there's totally no face-to-face classes. We're considering to have limited face-to-face classes next year, but we're not yet sure if that will be approved. Right now, there's totally no face-to-face classes, so there's no one explaining to the children the concepts that they need to understand. So this is the primary reason that we establish a DepEd TV, so that there would be a teacher explaining to the students even though they are at home. And also in our country, around 88% of the population have television, while only 67% have access to have a mobile smartphone in their houses, so they could access internet through those devices. So it's much the reach of television is much wider. And then finally, we have what we call the radio-based instruction. We're making use of radio to deliver education to the rest of the population which do not have access to television. And of course, finally, those who really do not have access to any technology can always rely on the print-based modules that we're releasing.
Aaron, that sounds great just in terms of the range of technologies that are practically accessible, and of course, with print to the other medias. I want to get back to the question about how tracking sort of usage and the feedback loop. Maybe before going to that, just to pick up on one of the technologies for television, could you describe some typical themes that are broadcast? What does a television broadcast look like? What's the typical length? Is it a series once a week? Just give us a little bit more detail.
Well, I have, there's actually, we have a program grid. Each episode will last around 20 to 25 minutes. Some of the more complex subjects like mathematics last maybe around 30 minutes. These are the higher grade levels. So we're covering kinder to grade 12. Right now, our production capacity is at 130 episodes per week. Yes, it's 130 episodes per week.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
We mobilize around 120 teachers throughout the country who would act as teacher broadcasters. And then we partnered with media practitioners to help us in training these teachers and doing the post production. actually in just a span of 2 months, we were able to ramp up our capability from 0 to 130 episodes per week to cover the major subject areas which are under the curriculum that we deployed for for this pandemic period. I forgot to mention the K to 12 curriculum was reduced by 60%. So that this is what our curriculum people believe could be viable under the circumstances. So what we are doing in Deaf and TV, we're actually translating the print-based self-learning modules. In the ideal scenario, the print-based learning modules, the TV lectures are actually based on the print-based self-learning modules. They provide lectures to explain the topics and then give activities so that children can respond while watching the episode, and then they can refer to the print-based self-learning modules to while they're listening to the television. The radio component is essentially just extracting the audio portion of the TV episodes. We wanted to incorporate additional audio footages to deepen the to make it more applicable for people who do not have the visuals, but we haven't been able to execute this yet, primarily because of lack of resources. But hopefully in the next January, we're planning to move our production from 130 episodes to 220 to cover all the subject areas under the